Hey, you guys, it's Denise Walsh. I have been listening to the Jennifer Crumbly trial. I live here in Michigan, grew up near the Detroit area, and have friends who go to school in that area still and have kids over there. And so, anyway, this trial has been really fascinating to me, and they just came out with a guilty verdict. And I want to talk to you about it. If you've been listening to this case or know anything about it, let me know in the comments. But if you haven't, let me know that too. So, as a clinical psychologist, I worked with people who were in the legal system, of course. Like some were domestic violence people, some were, I worked with CPS, I worked with people who were in the legal system. And so, this is a fascinating case because what the state worked to do was put the responsibility on them for their child's responses. So the story is in 2021, right when school started again. It was 2021, I believe, when this happened, but they were still wearing masks and they didn't use their lockers and they had backpacks full of books. And so, one thing they didn't talk about in the trial was the mental state of everyone during that time, I think is a really fascinating thing to consider. But this kid, got sent down to the office for two different types of things. The first thing was he was looking at bullets in school on his phone, I guess, and he got reported for that. And then the second day he was drawing on his notebook and math, like his math paper. He drew a gun and things like that. Now, it was worrisome enough for the teachers to send him down to the principal's office and for him to see the school counselor. And then the school counselor called the parents and the parents came. And so the parents came to the school, and it sounds like this kid was not a behavioral issue. He did not get in trouble. He had missing assignments. That was his main thing. He had just lost a dog, and a good friend had moved. And so there was increased anxiety and depression. I mean, especially after the COVID years. Again, they were in school wearing masks with the backpacks on, like, so everything's heavy. And you just wonder, all of these things were adding to this child's stability. And when they went to when they were in the office, it's from what I gathered in the trial, the meeting was 12 minutes long, 12 minutes. And so the parents leave work and come to the school. The parents are told, this is a mental health issue. This is not a behavioral issue. He's not in trouble, but you need to get him some help. Please call and set up an appointment in the next 48 hours. It sounds like they decided as a team that he could go back to school. There was conflicting things here. Some people said the school wanted him to leave, but they couldn't force him, which I'm like, yeah, you can. You can have him sit in the office the rest of the day. Like, there's a lot of things you can do if the parents are unable to take him home or don't want to take him home. So that was one thing that everyone was really upset about. They came to the school. He had these drawings, and then, like, nobody did anything about it. The school didn't make him go home. The school didn't keep him in the office. The school didn't have him talk to the counselor for an hour. The counselor they basically did this risk assessment, maybe did a risk assessment. They didn't seem to ask the questions I would have asked in a risk assessment, but they said things, but they basically said you can go back to class. Nobody checked his backpack, and within 2 hours, he had started shooting. And so the question that was being asked is, can the parents be like criminally responsible? Yes, in a civil suit, for sure. Like, you can civilly sue this, hopefully the school and the parents because they were negligent. But can they be held criminally responsible? This is the question. And if they can be held criminally responsible, what does that mean for other parents who have kids that do bad things? Really, this is super fascinating when you think of onus of responsibility and then blaming the parents for something the children does. And so I think emotionally, you're like, heck yeah, get the parents out of here. Clearly, they're awful parents. They didn't take their kids out of school, even if he was having a hard day, like, even if it was nothing, but he was just having a hard day, like, yeah, take him, go get McDonald's, like, whatever, like, take care of your child. And it sounds like there was a lot of things that didn't come into trial that showed more neglect and more, like they just ignored him kind of. But within the trial setting itself, there was no smoking gun. There was nothing that said, "Oh yeah, we knew he was a danger to others." There was nothing that said, "Oh yeah, we like we saw this clear sign and it didn't happen." Or there was no smoking gun that said, "Yes, the parents knew that this could happen on that day particularly." And so after the trial was over, I was thinking, there is no way that they can say without 100%, or does it 99% reasonable doubt, like it has to be 99.9% sure that if this didn't, like, this would not have happened if Jennifer Crumbly did what? A better job of being a mom? What specifically? Like, what, that's why it's so vague. And so I was really like, there's no way that they're going to call this mom guilty, because there's no smoking gun that says she knew that this would happen on that day and did nothing. And the jury just came back and they found her guilty. And I can tell you, it's really, again, this is just an interesting conversation on the onus of responsibility. As a clinical psychologist and a dream life coach, I teach personal responsibility to all of my clients. Like, you can't blame everything around you for your life sucking, right? And so, onus of responsibility a bit. Now, kids are different, of course, like they don't have control over their environment as much. But besides that, there's also this element of what other parents could be held responsible for the child who took alcohol from their cabinet and drunk drove and killed someone. Are the parents now going to be liable for something like that? Or you think of members of gangs. Their parents know they're in gangs. Are the parents now going to be liable for something like that? The parents' liability for the children's actions is fascinating. And then the other thing is that this child, who was 15 at the time, got charged as an adult. And so now we're saying the parents are responsible for an adult's activities. And again, where does that draw the line? And so this is a really interesting conversation to have, because immediately I think the emotional response is, oh yeah, get these parents out of here. Clearly they did something wrong. But then when you think about it in a long-term, like, legal sense, criminally responsible, heck yeah, they're responsible on some level, and that can be done civilly, but are they criminally responsible to the point of needing to go to prison for the next 10 years? And then what does this mean for other cases? So I don't know about you, but I am like shocked that they got guilty, because there was not anything, in my opinion, in the trial that said, yes, they knew. They were maybe neglectful. They were maybe distracted with life. They were maybe stressed, but there was nothing that said, yes, they knew. And so I'm shooketh a little bit. I want to hear from you. This is really fascinating. And I think criminal psychology is super interesting to me, like why people do the things they do. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this too. So if you don't know anything, let me know. If you've been paying attention to this case, let me know. And if you're interested in more case breakdowns and criminal psychology and really getting into the why people do what they do and how to heal through the trauma that tragedies bring, let me know that too. This is a super interesting conversation. And yeah, let's keep having it in the comments section. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.